Hello, my name is Jennifer Breen, and I'm a member of the Bereavement Ministry of Mary, Mother of the Redeemer, and St. Stanislaus parishes in Lansdale, Pennsylvania. In a previous video, we provided some suggestions of ways to support loved ones and friends who are grieving. These were concrete, practical ways to show you care, such as delivering a meal or sending a card. But probably the most profound thing you can do to help a friend or loved one is to listen. In this video, we'll provide information on what compassionate listening is, as well as some tips on how to become a more compassionate listener. Listening is a skill, and like most skills, it takes time and practice to improve. Most of our day-to-day interactions with other people involve a certain amount of listening. During these interactions, it's not uncommon to begin thinking about what your response will be while the other person is still speaking. Someone starts talking, you listen, you hear something you want to respond to, and before you know it, your brain has shifted from listening into formulating a response. And unfortunately, this shift can lead to us missing other pieces of information that might be important to that exchange. Listening is also more than just about the words. It also involves paying attention to how the words are shared. Word selection, how fast or slow a person speaks, their tone, and if you're face to face, even their body language are all keys in the listening process. They provide more information than just what's said. Compassionate listening is a term which is applied to active, intentional listening, which is focused on allowing the speaker to be fully heard, without judgment, without providing immediate solutions, or without merely placating the speaker. A compassionate listener will allow the speaker to think out loud, they'll provide them feedback, and as appropriate, they might ask them questions to help the speaker sort out their thoughts. Compassionate listening is regularly used in grief support, and it's most often performed in a one-on-one exchange. So it's conducive to being done in person, on a phone call, or via a video chat. These same skills can be used in group settings, but for the purpose of this video, we'll focus on one-on-one exchanges. When someone's grieving, especially if they're grieving the death of a loved one, part of the healing process is telling their story. They might wish to recap events that led to their loved one's passing. They might be trying to make sense of their new reality. They could be working their way through a myriad of emotions: sadness, anger, loneliness, relief, or guilt. Whatever they wish to share, it is personal and it's important to them. They may need to tell their story multiple times. They might be having a hard time figuring out how or why or what they're even feeling. But it's important for them to be heard. It takes time and patience to work through the grief process, and a compassionate listener can help. Here are some tips or strategies to become a more compassionate listener. First, clear your mind and make whatever accommodations you can to be fully present to the person who's speaking. If there are physical distractions, work to eliminate them. For example, go to a quieter space. Turn off background noises like a TV or a radio. If you're preoccupied thinking about something else, do what you can to mentally shift your focus. Or if you're overwhelmed yourself, you might need to tell the person that you're very interested to talk with them, and then schedule a time or a day where you can be more present. Sometimes it can actually be more damaging or alienating when someone's trying to share with you and you're not fully present. Take note of what the speaker is saying and give them small verbal or physical cues which indicate that you're listening. Some examples can include just nodding your head or making sounds of affirmation. Also honoring the person's experience based on what they're sharing, like, that sounds like it was difficult for you. Or briefly recap what the person said or ask them clarifying questions to show your engagement. One of the fundamentals of compassionate listening is this: you need to be willing to sit with the discomfort of the other person's emotions. Someone who is grieving will often need to cry. They might curse in anger. They might blame themselves or express anxiety about the future. A good compassionate listener will not try to fix these feelings. Rather, they will simply hold those feelings, acknowledge how hard it is to feel these emotions, and let them know that it's okay to feel that way. Our emotions are a gift. They help us to understand where we are. Sometimes they can catch us completely off guard. We might not even know how we were feeling until we have a chance to fully experience our emotions. A compassionate listener will often share in the emotions of the person they are witnessing, and that's okay too. On a final note, part of listening is embracing silence. Sometimes a few seconds can feel so long, but do your best not to fill the silence. These brief pauses can be a place of refuge for the person who's grieving. They might want to share more, but they need a momentary break. Use this time to take a breath or mentally count to 5. Offer up a prayer. You don't want to give the person the impression that they need to be done talking by automatically jumping in. Remember that listening is a skill, and compassionate listening takes time and practice. Try to incorporate the strategies that have been discussed in this video and see how things go. Most importantly, be patient with yourself and don't give up. Compassionate listeners are always in demand.